Let me start with that particular news of the World Athletics fraternity coming to terms with the sudden death of Kelvin Kiptum, who was dubbed the rising marathon star in a tragic road accident on Sunday night. President William Ruto, who led the country in mourning the budding runner, said the country has lost an extraordinary sportsman whose strength and discipline were unmatched. Kiptum died on the spot along the Eldoret-Iten Road with his coach, that is Garavis Hakizimana, who allegedly lost control of the vehicle he was driving and veered off the road, hitting a tree.
The 24-year-old Kiptum was driving along the Eldoret Ravine Road with his coach before he allegedly lost control and veered into a ditch where he hit a big tree. Kiptum and his 37-year-old Rwandan coach Garvis Hakizimana died on impact, while a passenger Sharon Kosgei was rushed to hospital with serious injuries.
Tumepoteza watu wengi kwa sababu ya barabara ambaye ni naro kabisa. Ipanuliwe kwa future ili tuwe tukienda kwa. Nataka tena kusema watumizi wa barabara, drivers waende pole pole na waende na uangalifu ili wasuie ajali kama hizi.
Na hiyo ni
he's waving to the crowd, kisses. An amazing effort by Kelvin Kiptum for a new world record at the Bank of America's Chicago Marathon.
Kiptum, who made his marathon debut in 2022 in Valencia, bettered the world record set by Eliud Kipchoge when he won the Chicago Marathon in 2 hours and 35 seconds. The International Associations of Athletics Federations, the IAAF, ratified his record last week as he prepared to run the Rotterdam Marathon this year. The late Kiptum, who also set a course record of 2 hours, 1 minute and 25 seconds, was also named the 2023 World Athlete of the Year for men's out-of-stadium events.
Again today, he's 3 for 3, 3 marathons, 3 wins.
President William Ruto, while leading the country in mourning, said Kiptum has left an extraordinary mark across the globe. World Athletics President Sebastian Coe said he was deeply saddened to learn of the tragic turn of events. The same sentiments were echoed by the Athletics Kenya Federation. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga said he was saddened to learn of the death of such a remarkable athlete.
Sad indeed. Now, the government has disbursed 23.6 billion shillings for loans and scholarships to first-year students through the new higher education funding model. An additional 17 billion shillings has been disbursed by the Ministry of Education for capitation to universities for second, third and fourth-year students. Now, speaking in Mombasa, Ministry of Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu called on universities to ensure fees charged for various programs in the institutions remain as declared in the respective Memorandum of Understanding with the government.
Vice-chancellors and principals drawn from different universities and colleges across the country have converged in Mombasa for this year's leadership training workshop under the theme Developing Strategic, Focused and Result-Oriented University Leaders. Speaking during the official opening of the forum, Cabinet Secretary for Education Dr. Ezekiel Machogu said that the government has so far disbursed 23.6 billion shillings for loans and scholarships through higher education funding model to first-year students. The Ministry of Education has disbursed an additional 17.05 billion shillings capitation to universities, targeting second, third and fourth-year students, hence calling on universities to ensure prudent use of the money so as to ensure all institutional functions run efficiently.
I also wish to ask universities to ensure that the fees charged for various programs remains as declared in their respective MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding with the government, to avoid arbitrary changes in the cost of financing various courses.
In a bid to ensure there is a 100% transition from secondary school to tertiary institutions, the CES urged vice-chancellors to work closely with communities and other key stakeholders so as to ensure compliance.
Equally, we are getting concerned, where are these 20% which get admission to our public universities? Where are they? Have they gone into TVET in institutions? Yes, we have the number which has gone to TVET, but where are the others? I think we're required to establish and confirm where these Kenyans are.
At the same time, the CS challenged the vice-chancellors to ensure that courses being taught in the universities remain relevant to industry needs. The universities fund has also commenced the process of establishing a data management system.
To ensure integrity of data, the system is envisaged to provide self-verification of data by students and institutions through a secure online portal. This will be enforced by second layer by cross-checking with the primary data from National Education Management Information System, NEMIS.
Moving on, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations on Monday grilled Turkana Governor Jeremiah Lomorukai and 5 legislators from Turkana and West Pokot counties over insecurity in northern Kenya. At the heart of the summons issued to the governor and the legislators is an unfolding boundary dispute between Turkana and West Pokot counties, with remarks made by the leaders deemed to be insightful, according to the DCI.
Governor Lomorukai, Senator James Lomenen and Turkana South MP James Samoit, accompanied by their lawyers, arrived at the Rift Valley Directorate of Criminal Investigations regional headquarters shortly after 8 a.m., where they had been summoned to give information about the inter-ethnic fighting in the region. After their exit, it was the turn of Kapenguria MP Samuel Moroto, his Pokot South counterpart David Kwasing and Kachaliba legislator Titus Lote. The summons, a long series of ongoing investigations of the political link in insecurity in the north of Kenya. Governor Lomorukai, while defending his colleagues from Turkana County, was quick to warn financiers and beneficiaries of banditry that their days were numbered.
Nitakaa kwenye kiti changu ya ugavana kutetea haki ya Waturkana. We are not going to allow a scenario where there are people who have taken the law of this country into their hand. That we cannot allow. This country is run by some laws. It has procedures.
Na sisi Waturkana tunasema tusipopata amani wakati huu ambayo rais anasikia lugha tatu ya jamii ambayo inasozana. Tusipopata amani wakati huu, hakuna siku nyingine tutapata amani.
While expressing commitment to lasting peace, Kapenguria MP Samuel Moroto, on the other hand, called for a quick resolution of a boundary dispute between West Pokot and Turkana counties.
Boundaries Commission. Hata Yashpal Kai Commission of 2005 ilikuwa ni ya katiba na mambo ya boundaries. Hata Wapokot pia walipeana issues yao ya boundary yetu 2005 ya Wapokot na Trans Nzoia, and there was no intimidation, there was no harassment.
To call upon those who have been entrusted to deal with insecurity and matter security in this country, they must rethink. They must rethink. Because otherwise, if we move like this, we are just going to intimidate their leaders and we are not going to achieve anything.
Last week, 7 leaders drawn from Baringo, West Pokot and Samburu counties appeared before the DCI and recorded statements on the conflict affecting 6 counties in the Rift Valley. Several people have been reported dead in a month following banditry attacks in the 6 counties, the latest incident being the killing of a primary school head teacher in Baringo County and a police officer in Elgeyo Marakwet early Saturday morning in 2 separate attacks.
Thank you, JJ Curia, for that report. Now, Azimio politicians have sustained the call for Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission's reconstitution process to be halted. Azimio holds that the process should not go on until the National Dialogue Committee report is ratified and fully adopted by the National Assembly, which resumes its sittings today. Wycliffe Okech with more.
The opposition politicians were speaking at a funeral in Homa Bay when they maintained their position regarding the reconstitution of the electoral body. Led by ODM Party Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, the leaders said the process should be halted until Parliament resumes and ratifies the NADCO report.
Huwezi katika mchezo wa kidemokrasia kuwa mchezaji na pia ukuwe referee pale.
The leaders at the same time challenged the Ruto-led administration to institute proper measures for prudent management of public funds.
You will never raise more revenue by raising tax levels. You need to reduce the tax levels, expand the tax base, and close all the loopholes of corruption, and you will get enough money to pay your debts.
And on the privatization of state-owned sugar millers, the Azimio legislators expressed their opposition, maintaining that all stakeholders must be consulted for universal concurrence.
We are saying in a strong voice, no, no. And any move to reform Sony Sugar Factory, to reform Zoya, to reform Miwani, and so on and so forth, must involve all stakeholders. And the key most stakeholders are the farmers.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition sibling rivalry also manifested, with ODM members maintaining that a stab at the presidency in the next general election is open to all.
And we must desist from this conversation of who is going to be the president and deputy president at this point in time. Our leaders have given us directions. Let us go and strengthen our parties.
And speaking separately in Meru County, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka and his DAP Kenya counterpart Eugene Wamalwa urged Azimio MPs to resist any attempt by the government to circumvent the law by using parliament.
Muombe bunge letu la Kenya, wanarudi kesho bungeni. Agenda yao ya kwanza ikuwe ni kuteremsha gharama ya maisha. Hiyo mnaunga mkono?
Tumeambia wajumbe wetu wa Azimio wakatalie kata mambo ya kuongeza wananchi ushuru kwa sababu maisha yamekuwa makali zaidi.
Now, for the next 14 days, no livestock, meat or milk will be allowed in or out of Kahumbu ward of Kigoma constituency, that is in Murang'a County. This follows an outbreak of anthrax disease, which has seen over 180 residents treated in different hospitals. One resident is still admitted after consuming meat from an infected cow. Now, the meat is said to have been okayed for consumption by a veterinary doctor who has since been identified as a quack.
Christopher Ngugi from Kanguke village recounted how he returned home last week to find one of his cows exhibiting symptoms of what was at the time an unknown disease. After being given a clean bill of health, he slaughtered the cow and sold the meat at 400 shillings per kilogram. A week later, another of his cow would die after exhibiting similar symptoms. Later, it was confirmed the cow was suffering from anthrax.
Hii ng'ombe tulichinja, tulikula kichwa tukauzia mtu ule anauzaga supu, anauzianga hapa Mbeya hapa kwa hii plot. Wale walitukula ng'ombe ni zaidi ya watu 300. Juu huku hata wale hawajakula wote nikawa wamekula nyama. Wale hawajakula ni wale wakukua huku.
What started as a feast would leave over 180 residents, including school-going children, taken ill. To contain the situation, the county government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, has issued a directive that no livestock, meat or milk will be allowed in or out of Kahumbu ward for the next 2 weeks.
Kiwa na hiyo maugonjwa inaitwa notifiable diseases, unawekwa quarantine ili mifugo isitoke ama products za mifugo zisitoke katika sehemu hii ama zingine ziingie. Huwa tunachukua selam ili tujua the jurisdiction area ile tutaweka hiyo mikakati, but kwa sasa hivi ni hizi shopping center ambazo ziko hapa Mogumoini.
Kazi wa Kahumbu na wale ambao wametuzingira wadi zingine wafuate zile sheria na kanuni ambazo zimewekwa na shirika la huduma la afya la hapa la Murang'a.
It has further emerged that the veterinary doctor who had cleared the meat for consumption was operating illegally.
Huyo mtu sio mfanyikazi wa serikali ya Murang'a, hajapewa ruhusa kutoka kwa Director Veterinary Services kutoka Nairobi, na pia ile kidogo habari tumepata ni kuwa huyo mtu hata masomo ya veterinary hajafanya.
Na hivi sasa tumetoa idhini atafutwe, achukuliwe hatua za kisheria, na kwani alikosea wakaazi wa hapa.
The county government mobile clinic will pitch camp at the affected villages for 7 days to ensure those who are yet to seek medical attention do so.
We are urging all residents who came into contact with this animal to report to the administration so that we can start them on treatment. We have enough drugs for everybody.
In 2018, 20 people died from anthrax in Kihomboini ward.
Nancy Okware reporting that. Kenya and the Central African Republic continue to strengthen diplomatic ties for the mutual benefit of their citizens. On Monday, President William Ruto held talks with his counterpart, Faustina Chanj Todera, President of the Central African Republic, at the Habatur Palace in Dubai. Now, the president also met his Rwandan counterpart, Paul Kagame, at the same venue. They met on the sidelines of the World Government Summit to be hosted by the United Arab Emirates, the UAE.
Yes.
Oh, Africa.
Yes. Yes.
So.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. It is that, and it never happened. Yes. So now, et puis, il voulait absolument te rencontrer. He was a mediation for.
Okay. Okay, Mr. President. My good brother.
Yes.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
We're having it's very well there.
But even for our food production, it's doing very well.
It's a good sign too.
And away from that, Parliament is set to resume its sittings today afternoon following a 2-month recess. Part of the entry for the 7th session includes the Housing Bill, the National Dialogue Committee report, as well as the reconstitution of the Electoral Agency, the IEBC.
After a 2-month-long recess, the bicameral parliament will reconvene tomorrow afternoon with a full entry. Among the business for consideration is the formulation of law on housing that, if approved by both houses and assented into law, will legalize housing levy deductions. The bill proposes the introduction of 1.5% on housing levy to facilitate the construction of affordable houses, and is expected to generate a heated debate between members of parliament across the political divide.
The priority will be so as to have IABC and the process to go on up to where the president will assent and confirm the commissioners, so that these constituencies can elect their new members who can represent them.
The report by the National Dialogue Committee, which made several proposals aimed at changing the structure of government and creating new political positions, will also be debated. Among the proposals in the report is the creation of the office of the Leader of the Opposition, which will be occupied by the leader of the party that garnered the second highest number of votes in the presidential election, with 2 deputies, and the entrenchment of the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary into the Constitution.
You know, these are reports that came out of, what the happenings that were there before this committee was constituted. And as members of parliament, we will debate the report. I know there are so many areas that may need legal intervention. One of it is the IEBC issue.
We'll also bring that aspect of cost of living to be able to discuss as people's representative, because that is the only forum where Kenyans can also get to see and hear their views being discussed and the way forward being formulated.
The report also proposes entrenchment of NGCDF and the Senate Oversight funds into the Constitution.
The 2023 Finance Bill was brought to us, to Parliament. Myself, I advised the government. I told them, yes, I know you want to collect more money, but there are better ways to collect money as opposed to increasing taxes. And after increasing taxes, which was supposed to enable the government to collect more revenue, what we are witnessing is actually shortfalls.
During the 2-month recess, various committees have been conducting public participation on various proposals ahead of the resumption and debate of the bills.
And today is World Radio Day, where the Media Council of Kenya, in partnership with the Kenya Commission for the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, that is UNESCO, will be joining the rest of the world in celebrating World Radio Day in Kisii. Now, today's celebrations will be marking over 100 years of the existence of radio in the world. These and more stories coming up in our County News Roundup.
Kenya joins the globe in marking World Radio Day on Tuesday, the event that will be marked in Kisii County. And as a precursor to the celebrations, Media Council of Kenya, in partnership with the Kenya National Commission for UNESCO, has sponsored sports events that attracted scribes from Kisii, Nyamira, and Kisumu counties.
We're celebrating 100 years, over 100 years of radio as a tool of informing, educating, and entertaining the masses around the great republic of our country. This is a day that is set by UNESCO to join the masses around the world.
Elsewhere, police in Moranga have arrested 2 people who have been manufacturing illicit brews in their residential home in Gatanga. Acting on a tip-off from the members of the public, the police raided the premises where the manufacturing of the counterfeit liquor had been going on. About 150 liters of ethanol, distilling machines, fake KRA stamps, crates, and assorted bottles were found at the scene.
We also managed to arrest the proprietor or the person that has been operating this illegal business, together with another male person. We have also been able to find out that the culprit is a police officer, was a police officer, but he left the service.
In other news, secondary schools continue to grapple with fee payment and personal provisions constraints for the newly admitted Form 1 students 3 weeks into their learning program. In some cases, school principals witnessed some students and parents report without fees and personal effects, citing extreme financial difficulties.
Unajua Form 1 walianza kuingia wiki mbili ambayo imepita. Na saa hii wakiingia unaona kama wanakuja wazazi na watoto wanakuja kama wanalia. Hakuna fee, hakuna pesa, wengine wanakuja hata hakuna uniform, wengine hata kiatu peke yake ndio hakuna. Sasa wewe kama principal unaona tu huyu siwezi lock yeye nje.
Finally, Kenyans continue to express divided opinions on the government's plan to have school fees payment made through e-citizen platform.
Ningependa kuambia wazazi wasisikie porojo, pesa yao iko, ni vile tunataka accountability, kwa sababu kwa wale principals wazuri pia kuna wale walagai.
When you look at where I come from, there are so many villages where parents don't even have smartphones. There are parents who pay fees by bringing firewood, bringing a chicken, bringing maize. Will you take a sack of maize and force it through a computer?
Indeed, that story brings us to our first break of the bulletin. I'll be back with more news. Thank you for staying with us. Let's look at business now, where manufacturers are calling for more incentives and initiatives to lower the cost of production to grow the manufacturing sector at a faster pace. Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry Vice President Chris Kandiye is calling for more leeway to be offered to institutions making products from imported raw materials.
The cost per kilowatt hour in Kenya is significantly higher. And manufacturing then has a lot of inputs. When you talk about the conversion costs, when the conversion costs are all put together, the costs include power, labor, raw materials, and all other costs. But where we can request the government is to see how that cost per unit can be, subsidized, or a differential pricing matrix is given for manufacturers, so that when they do their cost per unit, they are able then to get it at a low price, be able to price it competitively in the shelves, and thereby grow their volume.
The Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy is calling for collaborations and partnerships in advancing the Smart Urban Development Agenda. Broadcasting and Telecommunication Principal Secretary, that is Professor Edward Kisiangani, said it's imperative to harness emerging technologies such as data analytics and the Internet of Things to address the urban challenges as well as build resilient smart cities.
Kenya is championing sustainability in its smart city initiatives with the development of the first phase of Olkaria Eco Cloud Data Center in Naivasha expected to be operational next year, showcasing Kenya's commitment to environmentally friendly data infrastructure. Organizations like Oracle are also set to establish a public cloud region in Kenya by leveraging on Kenya's renewable energy sources and robust digital infrastructure. Speaking at a Data-Driven Cities conference, a platform that aids exploring the potential of data-driven solutions in shaping the cities of tomorrow, those in the ICT space said such smart city initiatives are critical in enhancing the quality of life for residents, promoting economic growth, and fostering environmental sustainability.
If we had a data-driven, when you do research and say, at the level we are progressing, in another 10 years, this is how the city will look like, and these are the pressures on water, on electricity. These are the projects we're talking about.
What we need to do is give the right stakeholders access to the data. We have to foster collaboration, and we have to break down data silos in our countries and also in the international cooperation.
They noted co-creation of innovative solutions and forging new strategic partnerships will unlock new pathways for sustainable urban growth.
Who implement the planning for cities base that on data, and many countries in the world, especially in Europe, they plan ahead. Even in Asia, you plan for 100 years. But we have, because of lack of data, been planning 5-year plans in our budgets.
On data, Professor Kisiangani said the working group on ICT sector is currently developing a comprehensive framework and policies aimed at addressing, among others, personal data security and privacy, as well as ethical use.
Well, Raymond Jenga reporting there. Now, plans are underway to hire 1,450 agriculture extension officers to empower farmers to produce more food. Here is Ann Boro with the details.
A drastic decline in the number of extension officers after the government halted their employment years ago, as well as those leaving service through retirement and other forms, has been blamed on the low food production. Speaking at the annual Joint National County World Bank Agriculture Portfolio Performance Review Consultative Forum in Mombasa, Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary said the national government is keen to address this through employment of extension officers in all wards.
From the side of national government, we are going to employ 1,450 agricultural extension officers, so that at least we have one agricultural extension officer in every ward in this country, because the Ruto administration is committed with the support and working together of the governors to give more experts into the counties to be able to support food production.
He says farmers are the target of the World Bank-funded agricultural projects worth 100 billion being implemented in 46 counties.
Our next phase now is to get to the involvement of beyond 5 million farmers through these projects.
A lot of these projects that the World Bank has sponsored have actually happened in 45 counties in this republic. And there's a lot of transformation.
2 days after the European Union banned the use of 2 chemicals that are currently in use in Kenya, Linturi says the issue of substandard, banned or harmful chemicals is being addressed.
Last December on 29th, I appointed the CEO for the Pest Control and Products Board, anaitwa Bwana Mushiri. Hiyo ripoti tutampea. Hiyo ripoti walinda wote wa usalama ama vitengo mbalimbali vya usalama tutawapea habari na ripoti ili hao wakora waweze kukabiliwa nao.
The Kenya Investment Authority is keen on streamlining the way it facilitates investors to implement projects from their infancy. Kenya Invest chairperson, that is Salima Heho, says this will be achieved through a review of regulatory frameworks that will see the agency woo more long-term investors in Kenya. Mahiu made the remarks in Kisumu during the public participation exercise for Draft Investment Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2023.
The Kenya Investment Authority is holding a series of public participation consultative forums on the Kenya Investment Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2023. The Draft Investment Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2023 seeks to align with the Constitution, the Kenya Investment Policy 2019, Mwongozo, and the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The draft bill seeks to make it easier for investors to set up in Kenya.
This bill will not only promote investments in Kenya, but also facilitate the successful implementation of investment projects. Because beyond attracting the investors to Kenya, we as a Ken Invest have the mandate of also ensuring after we facilitate them efficiently, we retain them.
Officials from the Kenya Investment Authority say if enacted into law, the bill will streamline the coordination of investment-related matters in Kenya by simplifying administrative procedures, enhancing transparency, and reducing bureaucratic hurdles.
One of the key issues that normally investors have a problem with is the bureaucracy, the tediousness of the process. So this bill is going to address at removing the bureaucracy.
Is very excited about investments, and it is the destination to go. Kisumu itself is located at a very vantage point in terms of investments, not just in this city.
In the past, investors have pointed to governance issues, corruption, infrastructure deficits, competition and market entry barriers, regulatory and bureaucratic hurdles as some of the major frustrations of setting up shop in Kenya.
Most policies currently are fragmented, especially trade policies at the county levels. So I would appreciate if this bill is going to speak onto that linkage.
The first Investment Promotion Act was adopted in 2004, and the review is being done to address new issues and some of the gaps that have surfaced over the last 20 years. Ken Invest officials say the public participation exercise is being undertaken across the country to provide Kenyans an opportunity to interrogate the proposed bill and submit their views for consideration.
To sports now, where the Sports Cabinet Secretary, that is Ababu Namamba's World Marathon record holder Kelvin Kiptum, who died on Sunday night in a grisly road accident in Kaptagat, will be honored as a national hero.
Speaking to the press, Namwamba said the Chicago Marathon champion had a huge potential to reign and leave an indelible mark on the marathon domain. He said the passing of the athlete has plunged the sporting community in the country into a night profound distress, sorrow.
Kelvin Kiptum is a national hero by any standard, by any stretch of the imagination. And we will honor him in death as we honored him in life.
Meanwhile, Athletics Kenya President Jackson Tuwei has extended his heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of the athletes and his coach. He said the entire sporting community has been shocked by the sudden demise of the world marathon runner and his coach.
Say pole to the family, pole to the county, pole to the people of Kenya, people to all the athletes, all the athletics fraternity, coaches, officials, pole to the ministry, and we say pole to the rest of the world, because he was a world record holder.
Former world marathon record holder Eliud Kipchoge said he was also deeply saddened by the death of the rising star.